I'm so happy you joined me today. Today we have a very special video. We're going to learn how to start amigurumi. And if you're already familiar with crochet, feel free to skip ahead all those parts that are not relevant for you. What we're going to do today is first of all to see what materials we're going to need, how to read a pattern, how to do a magic circle, and how to do single crochet. And we're going to implement all of those while creating a ball, which is the most basic shape in amigurumi, and almost everything we'll do is some kind of variation to it. So first of all, what materials you're going to need. So the first thing you're going to need is yarn. Any type of yarn will do, but I really like using cotton yarn because it's really soft. You can put it in the washing machine, and especially when you're beginning, it's really easy to see the stitches when you're using cotton yarn. So this is my recommendation, but it's not a must. The second thing you're going to need is crochet hook in a size that's going to fit your yarn. I'm using 2 millimeters, but feel free to use any kind of yarn and crochet hook size that you seem most comfortable with. Another thing we're going to use is a slip stitch just to mark the beginning of our rounds, and you'll see what it means in a second. So you don't supposed to understand anything yet. We're going to go over in more details further on in this video. And just a pair of scissors. I'm not sure I'm going to use them in this project, but it's always good to have them in hand. And another thing I'm going to show you is safety eyes that we sometimes use in amigurumi. But again, we're just doing a ball today. Maybe we'll do a ball with eyes. And there are two more different ways you can put on eyes. You can either sew eyes that you crocheted, or you can just use embroidery eyes. And all of them are good. Maybe you want to use different techniques for different projects. So just so you can see different kind of safety eyes, we have them in multiple colors. This is actually a safety nose, and you have the regular black ones. Oh, sorry, not those. Those, no, this is also a nose. Well, oh, here it is. Just a regular black. So these are the safety eyes, and we'll see how we're attaching them together to our ball later on in this video. So now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see how to read a pattern. So as you can see, this is a pattern for a ball. So first of all, we're going to go over some basic conventions when we come to read a pattern, and sometimes it's different if it's a UK pattern. So for now, we're just going to see what it means in US terms. So MC or MR, as you can see here, means magic ring or magic circle, which is basically the same. And we're going to see how it's done in a few minutes. The second thing you see is SC. That means single crochet. And of course, we're going to go over that as well. In each line, we see a different round. Usually it marks R and D and the round number. After we see the round, we have the instructions for that specific round. And at the end of each round, we'll see how many stitches we have overall after we will finish the round. So in round 1, when we see 6 MC, that means to do 6 single crochets in a magic circle, and the total number of stitches we'll have after that are 6. In the second round, we'll see increase times 6. And of course, we're going to learn what increase means, but when it says times 6, it means we're going to do these instructions 6 times, and by the end we'll have 12 stitches. When we go to round 3, we see that we have brackets here. And inside the brackets, we have one single crochet, one increase. And to do the full thing inside the brackets 6 times. And by the end of this round, we'll have 18 stitches. So let's just start by doing our first thing, the magic circle. And if you find it too complicated, there are other ways to begin amigurumi as well, but I think it's worth giving it several tries before we give up. And if it's not going for you today, just leave it and maybe try again tomorrow. So I have a little trick when I'm starting with a new yarn, and unfortunately I learned it the hard way. Sometimes when I did projects, I ran out of yarn and I didn't know which yarn to buy. So what I do every time I start a new ball of yarn is I cut a little piece of the yarn and I just attach it to the label and put it aside. And then after that, if I want to see what yarn I used, so it's really easy. I have here the yarn number, the company, and the dye number. So it's really helpful. So I'm just going to put it aside. And now we're going to start with our magic circle. Okay, so to do a magic circle, what you need is 2 fingers like this. And I want you to put the end of the yarn on the side that is closer to your body. And then we're just going to wrap it around our fingers, doing an X shape. Now I'm going to grab my hook and put it underneath the first string. And then I'm going to grab it on top and just pull it and give it a little twist so I have this loop on my hook. Now I'm going to go underneath this string from the back, like that. Grab it, give it a little twist, and go outside of my loop. That's it. That's everything you need to know about a magic circle. Now I'm just going to take my fingers out, and this is our magic circle. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to take 2 fingers, put the yarn, the end of the yarn on the side that is closer to my body, do a little X shape, grab my hook underneath the first one, pull the second one, twist it, go again, and twist it and take it out of the loop. Great. Now I'm going to start to do 6 single crochets inside the loop. And now we're going to learn what single crochet means. So I'm going to go inside my loop, just like that. I'm going to grab some yarn, take it out of the loop, and now I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to get yarn again and outside the 2 loops. This is our first single crochet. Let's do it one more time. Inside the loop, grab some yarn, outside the loops. I have 2 loops, yarn over again, and out of the 2. Now I have 2 single crochets in a magic ring. And as you remember, the instructions said 6. So let's do it 4 more times. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. And now this is the magic part. When I pull this string, it just shrinks. Great. Now, if you remember, the second round instructions was to do increase 6 times. And now we're going to understand what increase means. Increase means to go twice into the same hole. So normally, if I just want to keep the same number of stitches on each round, I will just go one time inside each eye. And eye means the little space between these two. You see, this is my eye. And if I go once on each one, obviously the next round I'm going to have 6 as well. But we want 12. So in order to achieve 12, I'm going to go twice inside of each eye. So let's now do it together. Of course, I'm starting when the hook is inside my loop. And I'm just going to go inside the first eye. Do a yarn over just like we did before. Take it out of the loop. Now I have 2 loops on my hook. Yarn over again. And now I have 1. But we want increase. So we want to go inside the same place again. And repeat. So now I have 2. Let's do it in the next one as well, 2 as well. 1, 2, and I'm actually going to count it as 3, 4. And when I reach 12, I know I've finished my round and I'm going to stop. So that will be 5 and 6 in the same one. 7 and 8. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Up until now, it was pretty easy to keep count. But as we go further ahead, sometimes you'll find it a bit difficult. And if you lose count, so you can come back and count all the stitches to know exactly where you are, but it's a bit tedious. So that's where our stitch marker comes into place. The stitch marker will help me realize when the round is finished. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert it in the second stitch from the loop. You'll see I have this one and I have that one. And the reason I do it in my second stitch from the loop is because I don't want it to interrupt with my crocheting. But then when I take it out, I need to remember I have 2 more stitches left in the same round. This one, the one that my stitch marker is inside, and this one, the one that I skipped when I put the stitch marker here. I'm just going to close it. And now we'll see the instructions say to do 1 single crochet and then to do increase. So I'm just going to do this, and no need to count now because I have my stitch marker until I finish this round. Okay, so I'm just going to do 1, and that means 1 in this eye. And now I'm going to go over to the next one and I'm going to do 2. 1, 2 in the same one because we're doing 1 single, 1 increase, and again single and increase. Now we're going to do single again and increase again. I'm just going to get some more. Single again and increase again. Single and increase. And now we reached our stitch marker, and that means we have 2 more stitches. So that's 1 single and 1 increase. So I'm just going to take it out and do 1 single and 1 increase. And now we have 18 stitches total in this round. So again, let's go back to the instructions. For the next one, we're going to do 2 singles and 1 increase. So I'm just going to put my stitch marker here again, the second one from the loop. And I'm going to do 2 singles, 1 increase. Let's do it together. Single, single, and increase. So that means go back in the same stitch. Single, single, and increase. And now single. We reached here, so that means we have 1 more single and 1 more increase. Single and increase. Okay, great. And now we have 24. Let's look at the instructions for the next round. We have 3 single, then increase, and by the end of this round we'll have 30 stitches. So let's do that. Oh, of course I forgot our stitch marker. In the same spot, always in the same spot. So 1, 2, 3, and now increase, and in the same one, 1, now I'm going to take it out. I have 1 more single and 1 more increase. Great, we finished, and now we have 30 stitches in the last round. Now we have 5 rounds of single crochets. As you can see, it says from round 6 till round 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 rounds to do single crochets, and in the end of each row we will still have 30 stitches. So that just means going once inside of each stitch from the last round. And here we can either count up to 30 or use our stitch mark again. And I'm going to choose to leave it aside and just show you how I'm counting till 30. If you're doing something else while crocheting, like watching television or something like that, so I think it's best if you'll just use the stitch marker. So let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 7, 8, 9, 30. And we finished round 6, and I'm going to tell you 2 things. So first of all, you see it's starting to get a little bump, and you might be confused whether you're going to do it on that side, the inside, or you're going to do it from the outside. So the answer to that is from the outside, which means that the hook is going inside the ball and not, as you can see, if we would do it like that, it would be outside the ball. And the little tail we have from our magic circle is inside. Okay, so that will be our second way to remember which is the right side. And the second thing I'm going to tell you is you need to keep count of your rounds. So if I just finished round 6, I have a little WhatsApp group with myself where I write after each round that I'm finishing, because now I get an important phone call and I'm leaving it, and then I'm coming back and I don't know where I am. So this little tip is really helpful for me to always keep count and know that I can leave it and then maybe even come back to more and know exactly where I am. So I just finished round 6 and I'm going to write it to myself in my WhatsApp group. And now I'm going to keep going to round 7. And round 7, we'll do it with the stitch marker just to show you that it can work in here as well. But I could just as easily count to 30, just like I did before. I just want to show you if you afraid you'll get lost on the count. So it's really easy peasy just to put the little stitch marker. And now I'm going to keep another round, and I don't need to count because I remember once I take out my stitch markers, that means I have 2 more stitches to go inside. Well, I can just think about something else, talk to you because I don't need to count. I can answer the phone. I can listen to a podcast. I can watch some television. I can do anything because I don't need to count. Who knows counting is so hard. Oh, you can hear Billy drink some water. So this will be a good time to tell you. Some of you asked me why this channel calls Billy's Amis. So Billy is my cute dog. And she loves when I make her stuff. She always plays with it and cuddle with it and sleeps with it. So I just named it after her. And you'll get to see her in a video someday, really soon. Also, if there are other stuff you want me to show you, so feel free to write it in the comments, or you can just tell me if it was helpful, or just say hi. And when I take out the stitch marker, I know I have 2 more. So that's 1 and 2. And I just finished round 7 and I'm going to write it down so I won't forget it. Now actually I'm going to take a little break, but I'm going to come back right here to this spot and keep going. Okay, we're back and we have 3 more rows to go of single crochet. So I'm just going to count and not use the stitch marker for now because it's easier for me, but feel free to use it if you need. Okay, so now we finished all of our single crochet rounds, and in the next round we're going to start and decrease. Decrease means to do the exact opposite of what we did right now. Right now we took a round of less stitches and then did on top of it a round with more stitches, and that's how it's gotten wider. And now we're going to do a decrease, which means taking 2 stitches and connecting them to 1 stitch, and that's how it's going to get the ball shape. But before we're going to go into that, I want to attach to my safety eyes right now. So I think I'm going to go with these blue ones. I think it's going to go well with that. Maybe green. What do you say? Green, blue. We'll go with blue. So I think I'm going to just put my eyes right here. Yeah, so I'm just going to stick it in a stitch The first one is really easy because it doesn't need to be symmetrical. And the second one needs to be in the exact same row we put the first one. So let's just see it here. So I put it on that row, and I'm going to put it something like here. Yeah, maybe it's too close together. Okay. I haven't closed it yet. Before I close, I just want to look if I love the position and I love where it's sitting, and I think I do. So now I'm just going to flip it. And here we need to make it safe. So we have these little ones, and I'm just gonna put it like this and squeeze it in. And now I can't pull it out, but just be aware that even though it's called safety eyes, they're not safe for children under 3, I think. So just make sure if you do like stuff for babies to not use those. And that's it. Now we have our eyes. And we can go and read the pattern and start doing the decreases, okay? Okay, so this round calls for 4 single crochets and then a decrease. And now we're going to learn how to do a decrease. So I just want to give a disclosure here. We're going to do what's called an invisible decrease. There is also a regular decrease, which I don't like to use because then you can see the gaps. But if you want to learn it, so I'm just going to post a link to that video in the description, and you can just see how to do a regular decrease. But now we're going to learn the invisible decrease. So first of all, I'm going to attach to my stitch marker, same spot as I always do. And we're going to start with the 4 single crochets. So that's, we already know that one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now here comes our invisible decrease. When the pattern says decrease, you can just do either a regular decrease or invisible decrease. It doesn't matter pattern wise. So just feel free to pick whatever one you like best. So in order to do the invisible decrease, you see now, before we went inside these 2 lines, okay? And that was our stitch, the place where we insert the hook. Now I'm going to show you that it's actually made out of 2 loops. This is the front loop, and this is the back loop of the stitch. And what we're going to do now is go in the front loop only for the next stitch, and then front loop only for the stitch after that. And now I have 3 loops on my hook, and I'm going to do yarn over out of 2 loops, and now yarn over and out of 2 loops again. That was it. That was our invisible decrease, and I'm just going to do 4 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we have another decrease. So front loop, 2 loops, 2 loops. That's it. And we have 4 more times. Okay, now I'm in my stitch marker. I'm just going to remove it, and I have 2 stitches left, and this will be my decrease. So front loop, and we finished that one. Next round, we're just going to do 3 singles and then another decrease. Just going to put it here. Stitch marker, take it out and decrease, and finished another one. Now I'm going to do 2 and then decrease. And the last, not the last one, but the next one, I'm going to do 1 and then decrease. Okay, so we only have one more round to finish the pattern, and notice that before we go into the next round it says stuff here, so it's kind of remind me that I forgot to mention that you're going to need stuffing. So I'm just going to bring the stuffing and we'll see how we stuff. So this is stuffing, and you can buy it in like any craft store that sells yarn, so they usually sell that as well, or you can just order it online. And actually I think it would have been easier had we done it last round, but we'll manage. So I'm just going to insert everything out of the hole. Notice how I pulled my loop so it will not like get lost and then some of my work would undo. So just going to shove it, and I can use that. Sometimes that helps. And there we go. Sometimes the eyes kind of change the shape, but I think it's pretty good, pretty round. And what do you say? Cute, huh? You know what? Maybe we could have put in a nose as well. Let me see. I don't know. Maybe we'll just embroider some. Okay, so now I'm going to do the last round, which is just 6 decreases, and I'm not going to use my stitch marker. I'm just going to count. And if we're going to sew it to other parts, I want to leave a long tail, but for now it's just the head, and I don't think I'm going to attach it to anybody, so I'm just going to cut it in here. Now I'm going to insert my tail into the loop to secure it and pull. I see I forgot a lot of stuff, because another thing you're going to need is a needle for yarn. So you can also buy it in any craft store. And I'm just going to put the yarn in the loop. And you see that I have this bump here. So I'm just going to go right in the middle of it and pull it tight and cut it. Okay, great. I think we have it. So this was it. This was the first thing we've done, and I know it's not amazing, but actually if you will know how to do that, so you basically know everything. And I have, like, I'm going to upload more advanced videos where we see how we're changing colors and how we're going to sew the different parts together and how we're going to embroider the face. And if it was helpful, so please like it and subscribe, and that way you can see all the other videos when I upload them. So thank you very much for being here. It's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I'll see you next time.